Merry Christmas.
It's Christmas time already?
It's Christmas time already. Welcome. The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution from Cowork 591 Studios. We are the Bohemian Reformation Christmas Show. And for the second year in a row, this is a Jesup Holiday Festival.
Is that what it's called?
I believe so.
Okay,
I'm sure I'm wrong. But this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempest, co-host Dale Reber. I'm Jim Gillespie, and Richard Moore Kelly is with us, a guest tonight, along with our CAPS associate Macy Mastiller, and she's recruiting us some guests throughout the evening, getting us pizza, and we're just going to annoy her the best that we can. That's our intention. So tonight we're sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. They are serving down at the Holiday Festival down by the pavilion. Make sure you stop and see them and eat their pizza, their Boston-made pizza. We're also sponsored by Derek's Repair. Both groups have been incredibly kind to us through our time as the Steve Brown Arts Center. We're going to talk tonight about college football playoffs and Iowa State's beating today. We're going to talk to artist in resident Richard Moore Kelly. He's our second artist in residence. His wife Patricia is the pastor at
American Lutheran Church.
The American Lutheran Church.
Good thing you're here to help him.
We're going to look at the Jesup news. We're going to look at the Jesup Winter Festival. Have Mike Feckheather in.
Can I take a second to tell them about what's going on down there that I saw?
Yes.
Okay, I was walking around at 3:30, and Santa Claus is going to be in the gazebo, and they're starting to get a line over there. A lot of kids coming down to see Santa Claus, and they've got tarps around it, so it'll be nice and warm inside there. It's a beautiful day. It's not very cold out at all, but there'll be no wind in there, so it'll be a real comfortable place for the kids to go and see Santa. And they're at the gazebo, and they're down at the pavilion. There were 8 or 10 tables set up for different vendors, and they were starting to get going. When I was down there looking around, and Michael Feckgater's down there helping them, and I wasn't able to stay long enough to see what all they were setting up, but they were a lot of tables down there ready to go. And like I said, Mickey D's Pizza's down there, and you can buy pizza by the slice, or I imagine you can buy a whole one also. And so if you need something to eat or want to do a nice Saturday supper and then go back and watch the basketball game or whatever on television, why, it would be a good thing to do. So if you're listening to this and you want to come on down, because they put a lot of work into this, and be nice if the crowd would show up. Okay. All right.
It is. We have behind us, if you can see, some of Richard's artwork is also being shown in M's Coffee in Independence, and we will talk in detail with Rich here in just a little bit after we get through our little 501c3 spiel here. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. So we are working toward that goal. But first, we'd like to welcome Richard.
Thank you.
Welcome tonight. We're glad you're here. Richard, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
How'd you end up in Jesup? That's
up
always
in
interesting to me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was born and raised and spent the first 18 years of life in St. Paul, Minnesota. Then I traveled down the river 150 miles and went to UW La Crosse for college. traveled down the river another 150 miles to Dubuque, Iowa, where I fell in love with Iowa, and spent some years there in seminary. And there I met my wife, Patricia. And from there, we went to Battle Creek, Michigan, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico, and then back to Iowa. And how we ended up in Jesup was because my wife developed some lung issues, and the elevation in Albuquerque is the same as it is in Denver. You're about a mile high, and so we needed to get back down to sea level. And where else would you pick other than Iowa?
Iowa, yeah.
There you go. There you go. What is Jesup? Jusup's right around 1,000 feet, I think.
I don't recall. I remember looking it up once, but if the
Yeah.
water gets over the Appalachians and the Rockies and floods us out, we're in trouble then.
We are in trouble. So Rich, you are a second artist in residence, and I guess the big question is, how did you get into art?
I started when I was a small child, probably in elementary school. My dad would bring home from work these big boxes of paper, and I would just start drawing on them, and I enjoyed drawing. I started out drawing tractors and truck pull pictures.
Sure.
And I thought, as I just kept drawing and drawing, I drew my adolescence and everything. And it got time I thought my first career choice was I wanted to be a car designer.
Okay.
And you got to know I'm legally blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad looked at me and he said, "The Ford Motor Company is not going to buy a car designed by a guy without a driver's license. That's just the way that's going to go. So you can forget that." So I started drawing then, and then into my adolescence, and then I did. I let it go. And we happened to be in, it just sort of laid in me, this desire to draw, to create, to paint, to explore line and color and shape and put it all together. And so my wife and I were at our first call in Battle Creek, Michigan, and there was a professional artist in that congregation. And I said, "Ellie, will you teach me to paint?"
What was Ellie's last name?
Well, Ellie DeVries.
Ellie DeVries. Well, shout out to Ellie. Maybe Ellie will watch the recording of this.
Ellie DeVries. And so then she had me to her house for an afternoon and gave me some cast-off canvases and some cast-off paints and said, "Go to work." And I saw her in church like the next day, and she said, "Me and my husband talked, and we're going to pay for your first series of art classes at the Battle Creek Art Center." Oh, wow, okay. So I show up at the Battle Creek Art Center, and the teacher's got all these different things on there of what to paint. Fruit baskets, just various different things out on the flowers, etc., out on the tables, and pick what you want to paint. Okay, well, I could never, because my vision, because I'm legally blind, I could never get the picture to translate from the picture to my eye to my hand to make the picture. It just always ended up looking like some oddball thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I got frustrated. Like 3 classes in, I'm ready to hang this up. I said, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore." And my instructor said, "I want you to paint what you see in your mind's eye." Oh, okay, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask you, not to interrupt you, but to interrupt you, can I ask you, so are all of these pictures back here things that you see?
Yeah, they came out of my mind, or came. That's what sparked. I might look at a picture and say, "Okay, well, that's a nice picture. I'm going to twist it around my way." So I don't copy anybody's work, but I might grab an idea and then put it out together. That's how I see it.
Okay.
So
Okay. But go on. So you were painting in the Battle Creek Art Center and
so she said, paint what you see, and that opened it up. That was the key that opened the door, and I started just painting. I use anything I can I mostly use just like a yardstick to measure out the canvas or grid it out or whatever, and then I just go to work with paint, and sometimes I use circles. Sometimes it'll be a wine glass. I've got one that I used a mixing bowl on. Just all kinds of different stuff that you use. Empty medicine bottles.
right.
So that's kind of how I started. It was a whim question. Ellie, will you teach me to paint?
And do you see the colors, how they're going to go together for you, like in your mind when you're getting ready to put something down? Or
I've painted so long now that I kind of know what goes and what doesn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is with art is that sometimes you want to go along with the rules,
yeah,
and sometimes
Sure.
you want to break the rules.
yeah, yeah.
Bill and I are rule breakers.
We're rebels
So-
all the way.
So you can't necessarily go by what's going to go together, because art. I recently I was having a conversation with somebody somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it was, and somebody said, "Well, what are you trying to say with this art?" And I said, "It's not about what I'm trying to say, but it's about what this art does to you." And I think that's the question that you have to ask as you approach art: is what does this art do to you? Does it evoke anything? Do you want to look at it for 10 minutes? Do you want to look at it for 5 minutes? What's it doing to you for that 10 minutes? Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? Do you feel confused? Good art always gets a response.
So what artist has had a impact on you? Andy Warhol? What?
Andy Warhol. We lived in Pittsburgh for a time, and you can't live in Pittsburgh without being touched by Andy Warhol's art. And I mean, there's a museum there it's a warehouse, and it's 8 stories high, and it's wall to wall Andy Warhol.
Was he from Pittsburgh originally?
He was from a suburb of Pittsburgh, but yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. That'd be a neat place to go.
Field trip.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Blake, get the money together.
So Andy Warhol sort of made me think of, anything can be art. Soup cans. You can use any colors on those. You can use any color to put it together, and it's just gonna make it happen. Another Bridget Riley was another one that you can look up. She's an optical artist, and Victor, a guy named Victor Vassarelli, was a important thing, and I have to mention, just because we're on the air here,
Right.
my dear friend from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who is just a great guy, Jim Fitzpatrick. He's a fellow artist, and he inspires me in his own way, and we were close friends.
Hey, have you ever come in contact with other artists who are visually impaired and exchange notes? Or I can't imagine there's a lot of them, but there must be more than one.
Artists are a funny group. I haven't met anybody. We tend to do our own thing.
Okay.
There's a reason why it's me, and this paintbrush and this canvas.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you can't help but thrive off of collaboration.
Yeah.
And so when you get the chance, you get together and, you know.
Coaches are the best thieves in the world. You know, they steal from other coaches, and I can imagine artists are as well.
Yeah.
They see something nice, and
Yeah, well, and teachers are. You see somebody with an idea, and you say, "Oh, I could do something like that."
Yeah.
You know, something you really like,
Yeah.
and so I think everybody's looking for help. Everybody's looking for ideas, and
Yeah, like I said, you when we lived in New Mexico, we lived there for about 7 years, and New Mexico is loaded with artists, and you can't help but go out and look at something and have it spark an idea.
well, that's your challenge, Rich, with your time here in Buchanan County and Jesup, is to turn Buchanan County into a
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, well, an art mecca, art mecca.
Well, I've thought about that, and I think where we could begin, and I don't know, being only here since July, I don't. I think one of the things that we need to do is to get some sculpture, get some art that people can interact with. Even if it's the most oddball looking thing you ever want to see in your life, it's got to draw you to that piece. Even if you say, what in the world is that? Or why are we spending money on that? Because.
yeah,
Just to make you ask that question.
yeah.
Do we have a sculpture in town? I mean, the Veterans Park is going to have a monuments, but do we have any sculptures in town?
Not to my knowledge. I can't think of anything right now.
So you need to be able to interact with it. You know, that's a good place to start. You can touch it. You can set your kid on top of it. You can you can interact with it. I think that'd be a good place to start, or procuring some sort of building where you could have a small art exposition or something to that effect.
Well, you know, even if you know, how many parks are there in town? There's what?
Well, if you count, this is one, and then there's 2, 3, 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know, even if we, you know, in the summertime especially would be perfect time to do that. You know,
And some outdoor things that
yeah,
people could interact with.
yeah,
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
I
something
saw
like that.
when we lived in Pittsburgh, outside of this one gallery or I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was an art gallery. They had a sculpture, and it was of a homeless man, and he is holding a sign, and he had his hand out like this, and the sign read, "I need change." Ooh, I need change.
Yeah.
From a homeless guy.
There you go. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
Does he
you could
want?
read it.
Does he want change, as in what you're carrying in your pockets, some money, some coins, or does he want social change, political change? What does he want? And that's the kind. That's what I mean. You got to interact with it. You got to touch it. You got to. Why are we having art for a homeless guy? Why are we doing that? That seems so silly. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to evoke that emotion.
I like that idea. Here's to sway your conversation a little bit. I know you're a minister, correct? As well.
Well,
You're a pastor?
I have moved on from ministry. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in for a while, but I've moved on.
Yeah, you moved on. Okay. All right. How many churches has your wife been in?
Golly. Battle Creek, Michigan. There was a couple in Pittsburgh, a couple in New Mexico, probably about 6.
Okay. And you and I were talking about this, but share with the audience, what's your wife's goal here in Jesup?
Well, she is serving Jesup American Lutheran Church, and she's also serving Zion Jubilee. There are two that are connected to each other. And what she is trying to do is to prepare them for a permanent pastor. Their pastors, their former pastors moved on a couple years now, and instead of just sort of treading water with just weekly people, to get an established person here who's going to be the pastor here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it involves getting the churches prepared for what that might mean. You
were kind enough to take me out for supper one night, and I had a chance to talk with your wife, and she is trying to build a community in the church. Mm-hmm. It seems like, and she talked about the relationship she has with the other ministers and the priests in town, and it sounds like it's pretty good. When Dale and I were still teaching, they had the ministerial association was real active at the public school.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that, it's good for the community.
It's kind of like, I think clergy are kind of hard to come by in the rural areas these days, and it's part of it is getting the congregation excited about what they have to offer, excited about their community, excited about ministry in that community. How can we serve this? What are the needs here, etc. So it's about developing an attitude of, yes, we can, and we're worthwhile doing it.
Right.
If I might jump off into something that sparked my thought as we were talking.
Right.
I came here from New Mexico, and I loved New Mexico. It's known as the land of enchantment. That's the state's motto. But Iowa has always been a love of mine too. And I don't think we think about this. Iowa might not be the land of enchantment, but you drive around, and this land is the land of majesty. It's a land of majesty. You look at those cornfields. You look at those soybean fields. That land feeds the world. The stuff we make, the stuff that we grow, feeds the world. And I think that's something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm. So have you been down to, Macy, your aunt runs or has a studio down, what is your aunt's name? Sue Kinnegott, is that right?
Yep.
Sue Kinnegott. Have you been to her studio down here?
I have not.
Yeah, it's right by Casey's.
Okay.
And
it's an art studio?
It's an art studio. She's an artist from Florida. She's from Iowa originally. Sue is, and
it's right next to Casey.
Yeah, yeah.
It still has the auto parts sign up, doesn't it, on the building?
I don't know if it does.
Did it? Oh, they took it down. Okay.
I'll have to go over there.
Yeah.
Is she there like every day?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure. She posts on Facebook when she has stuff going on.
Yeah, she has programs every now and then where people go in, and my wife was in painting wine glasses.
Oh, is
so,
she?
Yeah, so
Okay.
there were 4 or 5 ladies in a class that went there and painted wine glasses. So
All right.
Oh.
We'll have to get you busy.
I guess so.
Teaching classes here. What you've got what? I'm trying to think how many pieces you have over at M's.
There's probably 10?
Okay.
6? No, there's more than 6. There's might be about 10. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's about 10 pieces, and M's Coffee has been incredibly kind. They've
Yep.
let us hang artists up there since we've opened.
And they've
So-
got wonderful food.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So how long does a piece usually take you, Rich?
I would say probably start to finish, the average is probably like 2 weeks. Start to finish, probably 2 weeks.
What is the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge, probably, it's, I don't know. I paint. I've learned to develop paint styles and stuff like painting styles that I adapt to my visual impairment. So it's not the painting. It's probably, what's probably the hardest thing, and every artist will tell you this. I'm guessing it's probably finding a price for your work. That's a challenge, is to find an honest price for your work.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, it's kind of a trial and error thing. It's kind of, but you don't want to undersell yourself either, because if you have a friend who's in the air conditioning business and your air conditioner goes out, you want to pay your friend for what he did, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't you, if you find an artist who you like and you like their work, why wouldn't you want to pay them what they ask? It's really tricky to learn how to price your work.
Well, and that's a great challenge. Katie Belvins is watching there. She does crafts and art as well, and I think people. I don't know if people see art as work. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I've come to value the work that artists do, and they deserve payment for their work.
We talked about this last week. The one guy, he cut a 6-inch piece of duct tape and put a banana and taped it to the wall, and he got $6 million for it. See, so he had no trouble at all putting a price on it. And
No.
I think it's always in the eye of the beholder, right? Somebody will see that, and people have to. If people want it, especially if more than one person wants the same piece, that's when you start doing well, I think. But I agree, putting a price on you, because it's just me.
Yeah.
But you have to go beyond. I think that's why some people actually get agents or somebody that can help them with that end of it, because you say, I don't know enough about pricing and value and this sort of thing, but I want to create and let somebody else put a value on it monetarily, because it's hard to do.
If you another guy I've followed in my art career
Keep going.
is a guy named Mark Bradford. You can look him up on the internet. Mark Bradford was once on 60 Minutes,
Okay.
and they interviewed him, and they were talking about, how do you price this stuff? He said, this piece of art has value because I say
Yeah.
it has value.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's
You were talking about sculpture a while ago in Des Moines. They have a sculpture. Have you been to that? It's an outdoor area, and they have some tremendous, very valuable pieces there that were made just to be displayed there. And it's near the baseball stadium there. It's not very hard to find, but I think you would love that, because it's all out in this park, and you can walk amongst them and you can touch them and all this sort of thing. And some of them are quite large and different kinds of medium. Some are just wire that it looks like a horse. It's just a big stallion. I don't know. It's just fantastic, but it's a wonderful place to go. And so And they are constantly looking to acquire, and they actually commission pieces. The people that run the come and go convenience stores, that family, I think, has financed that. And so they put millions of dollars into it. And but if you get a chance to go there, you would love that. That is really very nice. So
This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and I'm Jim Gillespie with guest Richard Moore Kelly, co-host Dale Reber, Blake Tempest, and Katie Kelly. Katie Belvins is in the audience. I'll stop that, Katie, I promise. If you're at the holiday festival, stop into Cowork 591 and see Rich's art. Macy's out recruiting right now. She's also getting us a chunk of pizza or two to eat on. So stop in. So Rich, how long have you been in Jesup?
I've been in Jesup since July 15th of this year, 2024.
Okay. And what's been the hardest part about living in Jesup for you?
Well, I thought it was going to be meeting people, but I'm in 6 months, my art has gotten exposure. I've gotten exposure for the art, and I mean, I thought it would be feeling isolated or not having. This is the smallest place I've ever lived in my life, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary because I mean I'm used to waking up with horns honking and lights and everything around me,
Right.
and I don't do that anymore. The birds wake me up.
Yeah.
But no, it's probably the hardest thing to get used to is that it's not a big city. Up until this point, the smallest place I've ever lived was La Crosse, Wisconsin, and the biggest place I ever lived was Albuquerque with a population of 600,000. So it's kind of I felt kind of isolated, but I've made a few connections with Jim and various other people around town, and so. Mm-hmm.
As far as Albuquerque, did you use public transit a lot there?
Yeah, we use I used public transit there, but we lived in such a place where I worked across the street from our apartment at a grocery store. There was, and that was in a kind of a strip mall, so there was all kinds of things to access there. The bank was within walking distance. Everything that I needed or wanted for anything
Right there.
was right there. So I really didn't need a bus there, and I can ride a bike. I can see
Right.
well enough to ride a bike. So that was never an issue. But yeah, I enjoy the idea of public transit. Pittsburgh, especially when we lived in Pittsburgh, that was. There's all kinds of hills in Pittsburgh,
yeah.
and that makes it kind of difficult to walk or ride.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, public transit, I use that a lot.
Okay. Do you find yourself in the wintertime? I don't walk outside as much as I would do, but like in the summer, did you walk around Jesup quite a bit, or do you walk around Jesup quite a bit?
Yeah, I take about a half an hour walk around town for exercise and look around and see things. And I really, I'm going to give another shout out to our library and our librarian. I think our librarian is the best librarian from coast to coast and border to border.
She'll be hard to live with from now on, won't she, if she hears that? So.
Well, Rich, we're glad you stopped in, and we're glad that you're showing your art with us today. Can can we have you on a little bit later in the show here again?
Sure.
You mind
Yep,
if
sure.
we do that?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Reber. Dale, do you have, speaking of the library,
Yes.
do you have anything
Well,
have
yeah,
any library news?
yeah, just to keep everybody caught up. But I can talk. The school next week has the winter concert for 7th and 8th graders on the 9th. I'm assuming all these things start at 7 o'clock, 7 to 8 usually. And then there's a middle school winter concert on the 12th, and then another one, the elementary concert, which is always a tough to get into, is on the 16th. So they have that going on up at the school. And sports next week, the boys and girls on the 10th play at Old Wine, and on the 13th they both play at Sumner Fredericksburg. Some games they should win, or I'm sorry, they could win, I think. They've had a couple tough weeks, this week was pretty tough for them. And then on the 14th, the girls are playing at, I have to look at my note here. Oh, Turkey Valley is what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the girls are playing on the 14th at Turkey Valley, and so that's the sports. The libraries, we talked about it last week, it's got a busy month, and the December 16th, they're having a chapter chat book club meeting at 1 o'clock, and it talks about making a recipe mentioned in the book, and then come in and share some of that with each other. There's no movie in December, but there's one in January 20th, called, or no, I'm sorry, that's a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the book club in January. It's Fail, the Rise and Fall of the Secret Service, okay, by Carol Leoning, I'm guessing is how you would say that. So Jim and I have talked about getting that book. It sounds like something we'd be interested in, and doing that. The adult puzzle swap is December 9 through 14, where people have brought puzzles in. You can go in there and pick up one that's complete, maybe just used just once, and so you get a puzzle. And that's something. I mean, we try to put a couple puzzles together in January and February every year, just
Oh,
to
you do?
work on as an inside activity.
So who's
And-
better at it, you or Deb?
well, I am, of course. But no, I get the outline done, and then she goes back for just a minute, and then 3 hours later she comes back. It's
Yeah.
oh, yeah. So it's amazing how quickly time can pass when you are doing something like that. The exercise group meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock. The Little Tot Story Time is a Thursday at 10:30. They're looking for homemade fudge recipes, and I think you should get involved with this. On December the 10th, you can bring fudge in from 9 to 1 and have a public tasting from 2 to 7. And I thought maybe we couldn't make any, but we could go in for the
We
public
can
tasting
go and try
vote
that.
if they let us vote.
Remind me. Keep me
Okay.
on your.
The December the 10th. That's not too far away.
That's coming
And-
up.
Yeah. And from the tasting is at 2 to 7. You got a whole afternoon to
Rich,
get in
we're
there.
going to wreck your diet that day. We'll take you with us.
And the winner, the fudge winner, gets $25, so a gift certificate.
Oh,
And they're decorating Christmas tree cones on December the 12th and the 18th from 3:30 to 4:30. You can make a yummy Christmas treat. You got to register, I guess, to go in. I suppose they have materials there to get.
so they're decorating with candy?
It doesn't say. It just says 2 opportunities to make a yummy Christmas treat. So they'll have the ingredients there, and you can make something.
Christmas tree
It's called
cones.
Decorate Christmas Tree Cones. They have some pictures here of it. It looks like a upside down ice cream cone. Not the vanilla ones, but the cone shaped, really cone.
Right.
And then looks like they have frosting on them and like M&Ms for decorations and this sort of thing.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
imagine that's what they're doing, something like that. So, but you need to call them and tell them you're coming if you want to do that.
If we're decorating, if we're decorating.
Yeah, they're not. You
Wow.
don't get to go in and eat them, Jim. Like people bake them and take them home. So I'm sorry. So
Well,
on December the 13th, 9 to 3, they have a repurposed book. You can make a book Santa. And I'm not sure exactly what that, they don't have a picture for this, so I don't know what
Right.
they're doing. But it says, bring your imagination to make a book Santa. This is a come and go program. They'll be there all day long. You go in and make a book Santa. They ask you to register for that too. So I don't know.
All right. Do we have to register for the fudge thing?
If you're gonna, no, I don't think so. You just have to go in and taste.
Just go in and eat.
Yeah,
All
people
right.
can come in and caregiver support group is Thursday, December 19th at 6 o'clock, and that's this Stacy Isley of Care Initiatives out of Waterloo. They have coffee and conversation, and I guess she is quite good. Christmas story time is Thursday, December 19th at 10:30, and all little tots and bald old teachers can go in and listen to the regular storytime hour, and it'll have special music, stories, and snacks. And you can come in your Christmas PJs, Jim. And bring your favorite stuffed animal. So nobody will take your picture, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Books and Brews is okay. That's done. That's December 2nd. I'm sorry. Remember, the library will be closed Tuesday and Wednesday, December 24 and 25. And Tuesday and Wednesday, December 31 and January 1 for Christmas and New Year's holidays. After that, they'll see you in 2025. So that's going on at the library and the school. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
When I taught, I used to know when all the holidays were.
Oh, yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
Eve and Christmas Day.
I always loved when Christmas was on Wednesday. Usually you have no school Monday and Tuesday before that.
Right.
And then you get the rest of the week, and you get all the next week. So it was and then counting the weekends, it was a nice long break.
Yeah.
I usually hate it when Christmas was on Friday. They make you work through Wednesday or half a day Thursday, and then you just get a short little break.
They did.
It was really good. You have time for me? I've been giving these rules for you to live by, and I have 10 more for you if I have time for that.
Please.
Okay.
As you do that, we'll bring Katie over and have her get seated and bring them at me, Dale.
Okay. Well, you asked me the other day if I thought we ever wanted to parachute.
Right.
And if at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you. So that's why I never go.
There's a great story. So a guy was parachuting, two guys, and the guy said, "I have real bad luck. I probably shouldn't parachute." And they jumped out of the plane. He says, "I'm not convinced this is going to be a good thing. I've got terrible luck."
Yeah.
And first guy pulled his chute, and the chute opened. The second guy pulled his chute, and it didn't open. And he said, "Be my luck, the truck won't be there to pick us up either." All right. Forget it. Go on.
These guys were going up in an airplane. It's military, and the sergeant said, "Okay, you pull the cord, and the first chute will open." And he said, "But if that doesn't work, then you pull the second cord, and the emergency chute will open." And the guy said, well, the young recruit said, "Well, what happens if that second one doesn't open either?" Well, then the guy said, "You'll be the first one on the ground." If you give a man a fish and he will eat for a day, teach him how to fish and he will sit in a boat and drink beer all day. Now, that's pretty common knowledge. Okay?
Yes.
If you lend someone $20 and you never see that person again, it was probably worth it.
Yes.
And there's more truth in that. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Some days you are the bug, some days you are the windshield. And you can look at this one. It says, "Don't worry, it only seems kinky the first time." Do you ever see this book, that play called Kinky Boots? She smiled. Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks for inviting her. All right. Don't worry, it only seems kinky the first time. Okay. Good judgment comes from bad experience, and a lot of that comes from bad judgment. You have to think these through. These are. The quickest way to double your money is to fold it in half and put it back in your pocket.
I like that.
Yeah. And a closed mouth gathers no foot. And the last one for today, duct tape is like the Force. It has a light side and a dark side, and it holds the universe together. So, duct tape and WD-40, the only things you need in your toolbox. So,
Daryl Ellis, when he had his body shop down there, called that tape 200-mile-an-hour tape because it would hold
up to 200 miles an hour. All right.
Yes.
That's
yes.
pretty good. So.
So we're lucky today. Our second guest is Katie Belvins. Used to be, for a number of our listeners, they may know her as Katie Kelly. That's what I've been calling her here today. Welcome, Katie. Slide up a little bit here so you can, so they can hear you. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for a while, and it just didn't work out, and it's finally worked out.
So is Diane Kelly your mom?
Yes.
Okay. So I know she worked at the library, didn't she? Do you remember? Didn't she work at the library?
I don't believe.
I thought she was an assistant. Okay. She worked with my wife, I think, at the library some. I
You think
believe
so?
I think so.
Maybe that was before I remember.
When
yeah.
you were younger,
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I think she said, I have a daughter, she's 12, and she doesn't remember anything. And so maybe that was you. No, she didn't really say that. So she didnn't really say that.
Could have been me.
Yeah.
No, when his wife worked at the library, though, you'd have been real young.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Beth is your older sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think you had Beth.
Yes, I did in school, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Very nice
she
girl.
still talks about you
Does
every
she
so
really?
often. It's like, I don't even remember some of the things that, like the way you would teach. How she remembers this or that, and it's like, well, I remember that because Mr. Reaper taught me this way.
See there? Okay.
They
Well,
stick.
that's very nice of her, and nice of you to tell me that, Sue.
Yeah,
So that's
you made
very
it
nice.
blush, Katie.
Well, yeah. No one's ever complimented me before, so I don't know how to take it.
So, Katie, welcome. So first, let's talk about your crafts a little bit. What do you do for crafts, Katie?
Well, I have been in about every little type of craft out there. If you've heard of it, I've probably tried it. But it wasn't until maybe a year and a half ago I found a new method of expressing my creativity, and it was through using chalk paste. There's a business that I kind of work as. I'm not 100% sure. So it's Chalk Couture is the name of it, and it's a fun, relaxing, creative DIY home decor with just craft with lots of super easy to use products. So with chalk, I can use vivid custom color chalk paste with amazingly illustrated stencils on reusable quality surfaces to recreate any color scheme that my heart desires.
Right.
So I can make gifts, I can decorate my home with the colors and the styles that I love, and I can teach others how to do this craft, and it's so easy. And like this, the sky is the limit with this craft. I just want to get it in more people's hands.
Let's talk about that. You had a teaching night here at Co-work one night. You had a number of young people and some older people down here that day. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, it was so much fun, and I was so nervous. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was then that I realized this is what I was meant to do. I was meant to, yes, sit in my craft room and create, but more so to bring my nieces and nephews in and to create with these young artists. I mean, I was right where I was meant to be with that group of people and reconnecting with old friends and their little ones and, new friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. It's kind of something that I crave, is that social interaction and being able to teach those young ones and celebrate their victories and their, hey, look what you made. And were so proud and so happy of, I don't know. That's one of the things that I love the most about chalking is there are no mistakes. And it's kind of that way with any kind of art, but this is a little bit unique because the paint, doesn't wash off as easy
Right.
for the little ones, where our chalk paste, it washes right out of clothes.
So explain to me what chalk paste is. I'm not,
So,
is it like in a tube?
oh,
Or-
it's, well, the ones that I usually get are in like a tub with a twist off cap.
Okay.
But then we also sell packets, and then you can just squeeze it out. It's thicker than paint, and it's like a water soluble, just paste. And you put your stencil down, and then you pick the colors that you want, and then you just use like a squeegee to kind of.
So you fill the stencil and squeegee it off and then lift the stencil off and you
Yes.
have, okay.
And then, yes.
And it hardens?
Yeah,
So you
it
pick it
kind
up,
of
or-
almost even has a texture to it after you have pulled the stencil up, and your design is left.
Okay.
Then it has kind of a little bit of a texture to it, and it's kind of unique in a sense that any non-porous surface it can be erased off of. So if like seasonal, for example, we can do a Christmas tree, and when Christmas is over, you just erase it with, like we sell what we call board erasers, but you could really use any type of sponge. And
Okay, so it's not a thing that you can pick up and hang it on the tree. It's flat on a piece of paper. Is that what you're-
yes, well,
okay,
it's
it's-
all of these things.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what is so.
So it does get hard enough that you could put a hole in it or something, or hang it on a Christmas
Yes.
tree? Oh, okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's. I think yes.
Okay, all right.
We can put them. We could put it on anything really. The stencils themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think the night that I was here at co-work, the kids did acrylic ornaments. They would paste their design on that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had a bunch of different ribbons and
Okay.
stuff to hang that from.
All right.
But then, there's all different sorts of different surfaces. That
Okay.
Okay,
Just,
Sure.
just
All right.
kind of.
Katie, do you have a web page or a Facebook page that people can go to and look at that art?
Yes, I have. I use mostly Facebook. I'm not certain if it's Purple Stars with a Z, STARZ, boutique, or if it is Purple Stars Custom Creations by Katie. And then if you can't find me that way, then an email is a great way. I'm checking my emails, and that is Purple Stars with a Z, chalk @gmail.com. But definitely look for me on Facebook. I try to be as active as I can on there, but it's kind of difficult nowadays to keep your page seen. So I guess getting
tons
that
of stuff there.
yeah, it's difficult, but definitely
Okay.
check it out if I've sparked your interest tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Kayla, so you're from Jesup originally. Tell us about your family a little bit. Your mother's name is Diana. Who's your dad? Brothers and sisters, and like that.
Okay, yes, my mom is Diana and my dad is Tim. They graduated from Jesup. I have lived here my whole life. And I have 2 older sisters, Sarah and Beth. And then I'm kind of the middle child, and then David is the baby brother. And I have 8 nieces and nephews among those 3 siblings. So Sarah has Luke is the youngest, and then Maggie is the oldest. And Beth has Bailey, Claire, and Ray. They all are a joy to be around. And David, he actually lives in Minnesota, and he has 3 boys.
You won't hold that again.
They remain Packer fans, but those boys, Tyler, Andrew, and Kyle, are my world.
Yeah.
They are precious. All 8 of them are. And then my personal family, in 2015, I married John Ballvance. His family was originally from the Jesup area. Like, his grandma and grandpa were here when his mom was growing up, but he came from the Waterloo area after his mom got married. And together we kind of make our own little home just with actually cats. It's kind of strange because I grew up with dogs and I always imagined my life with a dog, but we are crazy cat lovers. Yes, we
Yeah.
just kind of, that's just about it, I guess.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, do you want to show? Do you want to talk to the audience about your adventure as far as health over the last few years, or
Sure, sure.
would you like? You know, I know you talked to a couple people about that and inform them about that. You know, a listener, Lucas. You know, you've spoken with him,
Yes.
and had a good influence on Lucas, and you've had. And was it in 7th grade you started with some health issues?
That's probably about then. Yes, I believe. I want to say. I can't remember. I always say 12 or 13, like about that age. Would that be 7th grade?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Right at-
Yes. So you had it right on the spot there. Yes, many of you know, if you are from this area, you know of the many struggles that started that one day when I was in 7th grade and my life just flipped upside down. And it wasn't just my life, it was, and now that I'm an adult, I can see how it affected each of my siblings, and it changed how they raise their kids now, and how much it must have wore on my parents. So a little bit of a backstory. Just one night, we came home from a concert at school that my oldest sister was in, and it was a normal night. We all went home. I went to bed, and Mom apparently always made a habit of checking in on each of us after Wade went to bed, and she found me on the floor, rolled up and kind of in my comforter on the floor, and I was a little bit purple, and she screamed and for my dad, and then I woke up in an ambulance. That was the next thing I knew. And from what I was told, I think they did, I don't know, a whole bunch of tests, and I can't remember all of them.
Right,
and they sent us home, and they said, just don't leave her. And Mom didn't leave me. And then I think she left me. She said, I'm going to go put in some laundry. Stay right there. And, like, the laundry room was a short distance away, and then she heard a crash. And then there was a second ambulance ride. I had another seizure. And from there, it just kind of, I was seeing a neurologist in Waterloo, and we just weren't getting anywhere with finding any level of control. And I think the last straw was, this is totally strange, and maybe it's how things were done back then, but the neurologist called And my mom answered, and he asked to talk to me. And then he gave me all these instructions on these med changes. And I hung up, and Mom said, "What did he say?" And I said, "I don't remember." And she's like, "Okay, we're finding you another doctor."
Yeah.
And then from there, I went to Iowa City, and I had brain surgery in 1998, I believe. That was hard. I think it was probably harder on Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa and my siblings, but I was only, 15, 16 at the time, so I just did what I had to do to get through it. But when I was in recovery, I had a grand mal seizure, and I came out of it, and I saw my dad crying. And I had never seen my dad cry before in my life. So it was kind of like, what? And I was like, "Mom, what's wrong with Dad?" And Mom was like, "Katie, your dad's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just rest." And it wasn't literally until years later that I questioned it. And Dad said, "I knew it hadn't worked, Katie. I knew." As a child, I thought, well, I just had a major surgery, so this
Right.
was supposed to happen.
Right.
But we were in Michigan where I had the surgery, and I was there months. I couldn't tell you how long, but it was pretty much the whole year, I want to say. And it was a lot of seizures, a lot of struggles. It was a birthday and Thanksgiving and all the holidays in the hospital. And then even when I got back home, it was a lot of struggle. But there was a lot of little victories along the way, a lot of support from this close-knit community that we are lucky enough to live in, and the people at the school, the cards that were just flowing in, maybe not as much for me, as much more so for my parents to open these cards and say, "Katie, look, this is," but at least they were getting that, I don't know, encouragement that they needed. I think as an adult, looking back at it, it's like, I still have that box of cards. It's huge. And I probably would look through it today and it would mean more than it did when I was in so much pain and just going through all that. But it just means a lot that this community always seems to come together for those that are struggling.
Well, the neat thing here is the last couple of months here, you've had breakthroughs as far as you're active, you're out in the community again, you taught your class here at co-work, you're getting busy with your art again, and I'm seeing more and more of Katie Baldwin's than I have for many years, and that's really neat. What do you contribute that success to, Katie? Where do you see that?
There still are days where I am just like, this sucks. Like I'm having the med side effects. I have a seizure. I have whatever. There are still those days, but I started listening to this podcast, and from there I learned to count the little victories of each day. And honestly, it started probably a year and a half ago when I found chalking, and I kind of made it my mission to use, well, it ended up being that this creative outlet was my way to find my comfort zone, just get completely relaxed, and maybe some people find that in playing with their kids or watching their kids play together or running, cooking, whatever their thing is. But this was just kind of my thing. And I would get lost for hours at a time. And from there, I learned, okay, you need to find more things that cause less stress. And I just have been focusing a lot on that. I get out and I walk when I can. I actually walked here tonight. My husband's like, no, I'm driving you. And I said, no, I just want to walk. It's nice out. And so just getting out and, you know, being independent, feeling good about things and celebrating those little victories, I think it goes a long way in
Yeah,
bettering your overall health.
Well, Katie, we're so happy to have you on tonight, and glad that you're having those victories.
Yeah.
And hopefully we have you on again, and talk more about your art and your stuff. We hope you have a great Christmas here, and make sure that you share this with your family so our listenership goes.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, definitely will. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
thanks,
very much
Katie.
for coming.
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Katie, have a piece of pizza over there if Eric Masteller hasn't eaten all of that over there. We see that we have the Grand Marshal over here of Jesup. Come on over and get on. We know you got to get back.
That's all right.
Mike Fedkeller is with us here tonight. Tell us a little bit how's things going downtown.
Pretty good. The weather's a little unseasonable for this time. One of the best we've had. So yeah, 60 degrees when we started. So a little no wind, so I didn't have to enclose the pavilion. It's a lot easier this year. So
And what kind of things are down there that the vendors brought?
all kinds of things. There was gingerbread houses, a lot of take-home like ornament kits, a lot of candies and treats and stuff being handed out. Of course, hot chocolate. The scouts are over there doing hot chocolate and roasted marshmallows and stuff. So.
Okay.
And of course, always the big hit, Santa. Santa's here, and said quite a long line. It's clear out in the road. It's finally getting whittled down there, but no, it's turning out good.
That's great. That's great.
They said the people that came to see Santa were there early. I was here about 3:30, and they were already gathering in there.
Oh yeah.
Which is neat. That's a good thing.
Nope. Like I said, everybody enjoys Santa here, so it turns out well. I said Santa always a big help. He likes visiting with all the kids, so it's a good time.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't want a grumpy Santa that hated the idea he was there. So
Absolutely.
who got me this gig? I don't know. But,
So how's the numbers this year compared to last year?
I think we're about the same. I said everybody's definitely dressed a lot warmer or less dressed this year. Like I
Yeah.
said, last year everybody's bundled up tight. So this year is definitely, I'll take it. I'll take the nice heat. I think last year we even had one of the heaters wouldn't even start. It just was so frozen that we couldn't get it to
Oh,
light and
wow.
go. So this year we didn't even need them. So
yeah,
it's
no,
good.
it was a very cold weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of setting this up, Mike?
Volunteers. Some of the stuff takes quite a bit of time to actually get set up. Some of the struggles, we slowly building new and more creative decorations every year. So finding, I guess, talent to build some of those. I did talk with the school a little bit this year. We couldn't get it done in time, but they're hoping to set up some stuff where the shop students up there can do some cutouts, and maybe we can get the art students involved to
Right,
paint up some newer, more creative decorations, stuff that the kids are familiar with and thoroughly enjoy. So
You do a number yourself. You're pretty artsy and have pretty good skills yourself. You did a number of those too, didn't you?
yep, two of us worked pretty hard on the train last year. That was a full custom build. We didn't buy that. We bent all that, painted that, wired that all ourselves. So
Who else was involved with you on that?
James Masteller, I said he did a lot of work on that. A lot of the painting, a lot of the welding. So, but yeah, we did good. We made a few decorations last year too. This year, some of the street lights we had, the shooting stars are actually old ones, but we stripped those all down, had them all repowder coated, rewired, and actually added garland to them this year. So they look a lot brighter and a lot better than they have in many, many years. So, But yeah, usually I try and get a couple of those each year. So we'll continue to work on that as well.
So does the city give you a budget to work with, or
Yeah,
do you
we have-
raise funds, or?
Yes, when I first started here, most of the brackets and stuff were gone. 6th Street was redone from pretty much the library up towards the school, and all those brackets went away when Mid-America put in new poles.
Oh,
so,
sure. Yeah.
So I'm like, when we hung decorations, it was pretty much from the railroad tracks south. That's all we did when I started. So I carved a little money out of the budget for that, and then slowly worked with Mid-America, get permission to put everything back up. And we try to add a few every year, and again, try and keep it looking nice.
Well,
so.
sure. Yeah.
But no, we get a lot of compliments, especially once we got 6th Street fully lit up again.
Yeah,
So.
because we're on the north side. We're a little peeved there that we didn't have any lights for a while. So.
For quite a while, yeah. I did get a few compliments on that right out of the gate. Like, hey, they're back up. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. Well, there's not as many poles either, is there? Or?
There is still a number of poles.
I thought they, like,
So when they switched away from the overheads, like when you go overhead line from 6th Street to your house, when it comes down, we run into a challenge. Mid-America doesn't like us to actually drill any holes or anything, and it would damage the pole, so you
Yeah.
have to strap it. Well, if the wires come down the pole, you run into danger. You're using metal straps
well,
around
sure.
that.
Yeah,
If they
okay.
start cutting into things, we could get in trouble.
They get all excited, don't they, when you do that?
so there were some challenges with that, but we were able to work around the majority of those and get them remounted. So
Oh, good.
So Mike, I know you're on the Farmers Day committee, and that seems like 100 years away from tonight, I'm sure, for you, but it's coming. It's coming. What is there anything that you can tell us about this coming Farmers Day?
I told him 26 is going to be really good. We got that planned already.
Right,
We,
we got-
don't have a clue for 25.
correct. We had some good plans. Stuff was working out for this year, and then we had a few snags.
Yeah.
And so everything that we were going to do in 25 is now moved to 26.
Yeah.
So now we need a whole new design for 25.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
Oh,
Oh, it's always so well done, and you know it is always wonderful. You know you know the main part about Farmers Day is the fellowship. You know, the chance for people to get together and
Yep.
the reunions that take place.
well, it's nice for class reunions and groups like that. There's something to do
Yep.
instead of just come to Jesup and meet one night and
Right.
here. There's something to do. You can be in the parade. You can go downtown.
Right.
So it makes it a lot better for these class reunions, I think. So
Yeah.
I would completely agree.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that activity down
Yeah,
there
yeah.
afterwards. So
because we're planning one for my class in Old Wine. And okay, we can have dinner at this place to sit and talk, and okay, that's about it.
yeah, that's it.
Nothing else going on that day. So
Yeah. We had ours last year, and we went through the same issues.
yeah.
So
Okay.
well,
You're
Mike,
doing a wonderful job, kid. We're really proud of you.
Thank you.
We're working on it.
Yeah, I know you are.
Thanks
I
for
think it's
I
great.
know you're busy, and you probably hopefully it was an emergency, that phone call that you had. While
Well,
you
I'll
were
find out in a
sitting
few
here.
minutes. It's all right. It can wait.
What's burning on? Never mind. Okay.
Right.
So,
So,
all right.
okay.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
Yep.
much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Have a good night.
All right. I see we have Eric Masteller over there. Can we get you on the air or not?
I promise Macy I will. So
Good.
I got real quick in 10 minutes, so I gotta be kind of fast.
If you can jump over that wire,
Yep.
you're better than anybody else in this.
Yeah, right.
So, okay.
Eric was downtown. Eric is Macy's dad, and Macy is our CAPS
And
associate.
who is your dad?
Dean Master.
Dean. Okay. All right. That I have to go back one more generation.
oh, yeah,
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Yep.
So Eric, who is your family? Tell us your whole family.
Oh, she's okay.
I love to hear this. Yeah.
Dean Masteller, as we just talked about,
Yeah.
is my father. My mother was Roxy and Kennecott, high school sweethearts, born and raised in Jesup, and still live right outside of town, where my grandfather was at the home
Yeah.
place there. So.
Yeah, the home place there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, then Macy, my daughter, Parker. She's a senior up at Jesup. Parker's a sophomore. Then we have Benson, who's a fourth grader. So,
Well, I
stayed
thought
in
you were going to get
Jesup.
into all the cousins and uncles and all that. That's what I
Yep.
wanted to hear, but that's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I can go through them
Oh,
all.
that's all right. No, so-
There was 8 of them.
Yeah, I know. See, that's why I was going to challenge you to name all those and then all their kids.
Oh,
and
I could.
Yeah,
I really could.
You really?
but-
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is you are an artist.
Oh, I
You
don't
do
know
stuff
about
with Barnwood. You do stuff with Barnwood. You guys have started your own business out there at the old farm. Well, it's the farm.
Yeah.
Hate to call it the old
Yeah,
farm.
that's
It's new now. It
That's
really,
it's
yeah.
called, we always call it the farm. That's
Yeah.
what we referred to it as growing up.
So tell us about that business.
Oh, geez. It started right down the road. I started it about 12, 13 years ago. I had a building that came with the house. Didn't know what to do with it, and I started buying tools because I tried making stuff. And well, I did a lot of renovating in the home. And I was like, I got to quit renovating the home. I got to find projects to keep. I like doing this, so I started making things. I made my older sister like a farmhouse table one year for Christmas, and then she lives in a cul-de-sac in Cedar Rapids, and the neighbors saw it and they wanted them. And I was like, well, I mean, I enjoyed doing it, so I started making furniture there. And then one day, ironically, I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I seen a guy had a storage unit full of barn beams for $20. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this wood, but it's a lot of wood for
sure.
$20.
Oh, yeah.
And I was actually making Terry Nye, the realtor here in town, a desk for her business, a receptionist desk.
Yeah.
And then she reached out and asked me for if I could make her a mantle, which I've made mantles for many of people. The faux boxes, they're not real. It's new wood, you make it look old. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the pile of wood that I just bought and wanting a mantle, and this was right along the lines like that Chip and Joanna Gaines was taking off on HTT, like that look was in. It just kind of happened organically. I was like, well, you want like a actual old barn beam rather than me making a box? And she's like, sure. I made her that, and then a few other people seen it, and I started making, I gave $20 for the whole pile, and I just, can't remember what I made a little bit of money on the first one, and then I still got all this wood. So I finished a few of them, and then a masonry guy came in and just bought out the whole pile. I was like, wow, that was the easiest money for a good money. I was like,
yeah.
this was good.
Yeah.
I mean, that was easy. Like, instantly started looking for barns to do, as a side gig, and went to take down our first one. Just my father jumped on board with me, and my oldest, Parker. And we realized why it isn't easy money. If you're tearing them down, that's if you're not set up with it, like the telehandlers and all that. And I mean, it's hard. It's laborious. I
Sure.
mean, so it still is moving. I was just in a Grundy Center today after a load of wood, and jacked my back up like it hurt Stephen Walker. And I mean, it's hard. I mean, the beams aren't light. Had my high school son and some of his sons. Or some of his friends come, I pay them, they come and unload it for
Yeah,
me. So it works well. High school kids
Well, sure.
get to come out there and work. And
They always need money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So make them earn it rather than just give it to them. So
So what, is this become your primary thing, or are you?
it probably could.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy, especially this time of year with orders. We got in with some like contractors and like interior designers, and we have like a wholesale guy in Ames that they buy just the wood. We don't have to finish it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That's a quick turnaround. But yeah, our bread and butter is just mantles, and newel posts are really taking off. And then it used to always just be the mantle. Now everybody wants the mantle. They want the floating shelves to go alongside it, which sometimes require a glue up. It's a little more depth. The newel posts are real simple. They're just the 6x6, the dimensional lumber that comes. That's what everybody wants. You cut them to size, miter the tops, and finish them. And
Yeah.
we've got them in, multiple states. I mean, people come, they drive. We got them out in Montana, down in Florida. We were at an international trade show down in Orlando, Florida, two Februarys ago.
Okay.
We got in with Mendota Fireplaces out of Cedar Rapids. Had to do some prototype surrounds for them. They were doing them out of precast stone previously, which they paid an artist. They would use stamps to make the cast surrounds.
Yeah.
They were this weighed in ash. They were so heavy to move to different shows, and then they would chip, and the artist would have to come back in and paint and touch it up. Well, they were scared to do live burns with real wood. Well, they somehow got around it where they deemed it safe, so they went with us, and they asked us, like, you want us to put your, business card out there and, like, sell with the units? And I'm like, we're just not set up for that, That would be something
So do you have pictures of any of these of your stuff?
Yeah,
that-
tons, but like,
Okay.
we don't really even advertise. We're just stay
Yeah,
so
I-
busy as is.
Isn't
Okay.
that amazing? Yeah, you
I
know,
mean,
Well, word of mouth is
Word of
is the
mouth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
we're
not a website where people can look at your stuff or what you've done or have an idea
Not
what
yet-
you could do for
not
them or
really. I've always kind of wanted to work on it, like,
yeah.
but like I said, we're so
Yeah.
busy. Like we turn work away.
You still need some old wood?
We got a whole building full of it. We're always
Oh,
looking for
okay,
it. Like,
well, I know a guy that's got a garage full of it. He bought, I don't know how many years ago,
Yeah.
and I think he would like to get rid of it because
Yeah,
he's never
I'm-
done a darn thing with it. So,
yeah, I'll definitely give
I
him my
will
number
ask him.
for
Okay.
sure. I mean, we're
all right,
always buying wood. So
okay.
So the where do you work? So where's your real job then?
My
If
real
th-
job.
if
My
that's
9
a
to 5?
part-time
Yeah.
job.
I work at American Pattern and CNC Works in the industrial park in Cedar Falls. I have been there. Geez, this August will be 20 years actually.
Okay.
So I've been there. I'm blessed to get to work with my father there too. So
Yeah.
I get to be with them all day. Then I get to come home and work in the shop with them and weekends. So
Yeah.
What year did you graduate? I was trying to
03.
think. 03.
I was actually in school. You probably remember me. Yeah. I mean, it seems like yesterday, but yeah, it's been a while now. Been out of school for a while.
It goes fast, and you know you've got 3 children. And
Stay pretty busy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
try to like keep up. I always Parker, my middle one. I always coach football, basketball, baseball for him, and then about the time he was handed off, Benson comes along, so I coach all that stuff. So if I'm not at the shop or like coaching or doing my regular job, I mean, that's it. That's my life. Those 3.
Yeah.
It's so busy,
Well,
but
that's a good way to be, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's rather than the other. You know,
Yeah.
you don't get to watch much TV and stuff. I enjoy like watching sports, but I don't really ever have
Yeah.
time.
So with this
So-
back thing, now you know why you need to
Oh,
hire
I
younger
know,
people
yeah.
to do this
Yeah.
other.
I
You
know, my
just use
back
your
is-
brain, see.
I feel old today. I really
Yeah.
do. So, but
I had a tree fall during that real windy day here about 3 days ago.
Tuesday, yeah, it was Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It was Tuesday
I
night.
was sitting in an easy chair, and all of a sudden I heard it cracking,
Oh yeah.
and it came right off from the roots.
Oh, no kidding.
It did, yeah, a big old cedar tree, and there's not much wood to a cedar tree, is there?
It's really good wood, especially for like exterior. Like if you're gonna like if I were to make patio tables or something for somebody, cedar's the best. It just holds the elements better than. I mean, obviously, still have to put some sort of sealant on it and stuff too. But like,
Well,
it's
Gillespie's got
great.
$600 worth sitting out of his
It's
yard.
great.
You can have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Oh, $1,000.
just
Oh, a little while ago, you were trying to pay somebody to haul it away for you. Now,
It
okay,
didn't land
that's
on anything,
greed.
did it?
Jim.
Just-
No, real lucky because it was probably from me to Dale away from the house, and it fell away from the house. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you are lucky there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. The Winds Restaurant's to uproot a tree.
Yeah,
I mean, it was strong. I was walking out of Target and I literally couldn't walk a straight line. I was trying
Yeah,
to
it
walk.
was- yeah.
You know, it couldn't. It was.
A car door could kill you if you didn't get your legs in quick.
Oh, for
you know,
sure.
Sometimes when they slam
Slam
like that,
hard,
man.
yeah.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for
Thank you very much for your interest. I had
Yeah,
no idea this
absolutely.
was going on. And this happens to me all the time where people come in here and talk. So, gee, I didn't know they were doing that kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
I
that's
mean,
great.
Like I said, we don't really advertise much,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, there's a lot of people in town. I mean, I've made a lot of tables for furniture for people. Or, it's cool. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
I bet
it's a good
it's-
little gig. It's rewarding.
And it must give you a real good feeling, too, that to make something like that and
It
have
does.
people, have people really
does.
like it.
It does. You
Yeah.
know, I ain't gonna. I stray away from a compliment. So you
No,
get them a lot.
no,
You know,
no,
it
take
feels
'em
good.
while you get 'em,
You know,
'cause
it feels good when people
They can
tell
go
you.
away very quickly, too.
Yeah.
See,
Oh
so-
yeah. So, and that's one thing is like my dad did instill in me like I mean, we're about as old-fashioned as it comes. How we run it. We don't take
Yeah.
any money up front.
Well, that's from your dad's dad. was
Oh,
that
my
way.
dad is.
Old Bill.
I
Bill
don't think
was
too many
that way.
people say
Yeah.
too many bad things about my dad. He's very honest and
Yeah.
just genuine. Like,
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure Randy Travis wrote a few songs about him. I mean, he's legit. He's like that
Yeah.
guy, man. He's just
Yeah.
a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
So.
No, your grandpa. Bill and Donna are wonderful
Yep.
people, and all those
Yep.
girls babysat for me years
Yeah,
ago.
I
and
remember.
everything, so-
I mean, believe it or
Yeah.
not, I do know of you. I know your story.
Oh,
I remember what was in my latter years of my grandma Donna, we were walking where we lived right down there.
Oh,
and
sure.
You stopped because you were always walking, and she used to walk. And
Yeah.
Alzheimer's she was towards the end of it.
She's not remembering me
And
at
my
all,
dad was there. She didn't remember, and
Yeah.
that hurt Dad.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
you guys,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know,
It can.
many
It
many
can,
years of memories and
Yeah.
stuff, and just
Okay.
not there anymore. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank
Thank you
well,
very
thanks
much.
for having me, guys.
Oh,
This is
sure.
All right.
All right.
Bring something in sometime.
Oh yeah, well that's what Macy said.
Yeah.
She calls me last minute. Get down here, man. And she was supposed to be recruiting,
Yeah.
and she was bringing some of those trees because I make Christmas tree stuff for the holidays. I could have just grabbed it.
Well, we didn't know she was going to bring all her,
I didn't know
all her
either.
relatives
I
and
had no
everything.
idea I was signing up for this. So.
Wow. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we're celebrating Christmas with a live podcast. We're going to bring back Rich Moore Kelly one more time.
You see the wire there?
Yep.
Okay. Right in front of
And
you? Okay,
before
all right.
before we finish for the night here, I see you've got something there with you, Rich. What do you got in your hand there?
My friend Jim Fitzpatrick from Albuquerque, I mentioned earlier, he sent me some paintings back that I had in a show down in Albuquerque. It's by a guy named Jackson Pollock. He's a famous abstract artist.
He's that spatter guy, right?
Yeah, he's that spatter guy.
We don't like him.
Speak for yourself over there, Dale.
He has this is a quote that my friend Jim sent me. He said, "Abstract painting is abstract.
Yeah.
It confronts you.
Yeah.
It does something to you, and then that's what I hope my work does to you. I hope it does something to you. If nothing else, I personally like to laugh.
Right?
I like to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Nothing better.
And I hope when you look at my paintings, feel free to laugh. 'Cause they're kind of funny looking.
Yeah, it's a good attitude. Yeah.
They're kind of funny looking. So
besides M's Coffee and here, do you have any Facebook or anything that it's on?
I do have a website, contemporaryartbyrich.com. You can look at the various paintings that I have. We haven't been well kept in terms of our website, but it does have some there. That you asked me about challenges. Keeping a website is a challenge.
Yeah.
It is a great challenge.
And making photos and everything else. But you can feel free to call me. You can feel free to see us at the church.
I was going to say, stop at church Sunday morning.
Yeah,
you can talk
stop
to
at
them.
church on Sunday morning. Yeah, you'll be there.
Do you find you only get people smart enough to spell contemporary to get on your website? Or actually, I like simple things like
Yeah.
Joe at or something.
But can I give it's probably not good to give a phone number.
Well, I tell you what, if you're interested, call me at the Stu Brown Arts Center at 319-290-0241. That's 319-290-0241, and I will get you in contact with Rich, or you can email me at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org.
I have an email to 28rizzo@gmail.com. That's 28rizzo, RIZZO.
Okay. All right. So you can contact him there. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's
My
great. I've been trying to get to M's to see your other work, and so far I haven't made it yet, but it's on the schedule. So.
You can come over to the house. The house is like an art gallery.
Oh, okay.
It is. It's wonderful. So
Do you have coffee and rolls there too?
I do.
Oh, okay. Well, then I may do that. So,
All right.
we'll do
Oops,
that.
sorry.
Whoop.
yeah, these things are fine.
We have a couple of other things. Dale, did you have anything else
I'm
for
good
the
to go.
for the
No.
betterment of the
No.
community?
Yep.
I have, and last year I did this, and this is the way that I want to finish our podcast for this year. Remember, this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. And of course, during a live show, live things happen. I see we have someone over there. We have pizza for you over there. You're more than welcome. But I have, and here you go, a little bit of trivia for you, Dale.
Okay.
Do you know the story called Visit from St. Nicholas?
Yes, I do.
What is that? What do most people call it?
I don't know. It's
Most people call it the night before
the
Christmas.
night before. Well, first line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The
Yeah.
night before Christmas. Yeah. A lot of people do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is called A Visit from St. Nicholas.
Sure.
And I am going to read that, and that will be how we finish for the year. By Clement Clark Moore.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, A Visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wandering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop, the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pointing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and beard on his chin was as white as snow. The stump of a pipe he held light in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave to me know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the dawn of a thistle. But I heard him explain, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. It is, as most people know, called the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, but the real name is A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement Clark Moore. The Steve Brown Arts Center, or if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have any news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. We have many thanks tonight. We have thanks to Katie Balvins. We have thanks to Richard Moore Kelly. We have thanks to Eric Mastiller and to his daughter, our associate from CAPS, Macy Mastiller. We have thanks as we were given a second pizza from Mickey D's Pizza.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, and we have thanks. We're real fortunate as always. Cowork 591 allows us to use the studio, use their equipment, and they are wonderful.
Yes,
to
they
us.
are. Very nice people.
And we need to thank Kelly and Sean over and over again. As always, thanks to our producer Blake Tempest. He does so much for us. He got us on live tonight, and it was a lot of fun to have everyone in tonight. We sort of fly. We fly. It's like a marching band in nowhere once in a while.
Just by the seat of our pants, right?
Yeah,
Where are we going? We don't know. But
It is. And Dale, you make things so much better when you co-host. So
Well,
thank
I'm
you
just
so much.
happy to be with you, Jim.
Thank you. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Reber and Blake Tempest. As always, thanks to Kelly Seahouse. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. And remember, as Katie said,
Yes.
each day is about little victories.
Yes, it is.
Bring these stray dogs into your day, and remember, as Katie said,
Yes.
each day is about little victories.
Yes, it is.
Well done.